Welcome to Legacy Coins. And before we go any further, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now, because what you are about to hear might just change the way you look at every single coin you have ever held in your hand. Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old dresser drawer, maybe sorting through a jar of loose change that have been sitting there for years. And right there among the quarters and pennies, you find a tiny little dime. A 1972 de Roosevelt Dime. You almost toss it aside. After all, it is just 10 cents, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Because that small, unassuming, silver-colored coin, the kind millions of Americans handled every single day in 1972, has been valued by the most elite coin collectors and auction specialists in the world at an absolutely jaw-dropping, almost unbelievable figure of $163 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $163 million for a dime. And before this video is over, you're going to understand exactly why, and more importantly, you're going to know what to look for in case one of these coins is hiding in your own home right now. But hold on tight, because we are just getting started, and I promise you, what is coming later in this video about another dime from 1999 is going to absolutely blow your mind. Do not go anywhere. Not yet. Not until you have heard everything. Now, let us dive deep into the extraordinary, almost mythical story of the 1972 Roosevelt Dime and why it sits at the very top of the numismatic world as one of the most coveted, most talked about, and most financially explosive coins in American history. To truly understand why this coin commands such an astronomical value, we need to travel back in time to 1972, a year that was already buzzing with historical significance. America was in the midst of the Vietnam War. The Watergate scandal was just beginning to unravel, and the United States Mint was cranking out billions of coins to meet the demands of everyday commerce. The Denver Mint, identified by the small d mint mark on the coin, was one of the most active production facilities in the country at that time. Millions upon millions of Roosevelt Dimes rolled off the presses that year, each one stamped with the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the iconic torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse. To the average person walking the streets of America in 1972, a dime was just a dime, something you used to make a phone call from a payphone or buy a small candy bar. Nobody was paying attention. Nobody was looking closely. And that is exactly where the magic begins, because hidden within that massive production run, something went terribly, beautifully wrong at the Denver Mint. And the result was a coin so rare, so extraordinary, that decades later, it would become the stuff of legend among serious collectors and numismatic experts worldwide. The errors that make the 1972 Dime so uniquely valuable come in several forms, each more fascinating than the last. One of the most significant and sought-after varieties involves a dramatic doubling effect on the obverse of the coin, what coin experts call a double die error. This happens when the hub used to create the working die strikes the die more than once, but with a slight misalignment between strikes. The result is a coin where lettering, numbers, and design elements appear doubled, blurred, or dramatically offset in ways that are completely visible to the naked eye or under simple magnification. On the most prized examples of the 1972 D-Dime, this doubling effect is seen on Roosevelt's portrait on the date and on the lettering around the coin's rim. When you hold one of these coins under a loupe and see that unmistakable, undeniable doubling, that shivers down your spine moment that every serious coin hunter lives for, you instantly understand why collectors lose their minds over it. But the doubling error is only part of the story. There are also known examples of the 1972 D-Dime struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the blank metal disc used to stamp the coin was actually intended for a different denomination or even a different coin series entirely. Off-metal strikes are among the rarest and most prized errors in all of American numismatics, and when one surfaces, it creates an absolute frenzy in the collector community. Imagine a Roosevelt dime with a weight, thickness, and metal composition of a completely different coin. The visual and tactile difference is immediately apparent to an experienced hand, and the value skyrockets into the stratosphere. Then there are the proof-like specimens, coins that, due to a quirk in the minting process, were struck with such force and precision that they took on a mirror-like finish, resembling proof coins that were never intended to enter general circulation. These coins, when found in mint state condition graded MS 67 or higher by the Professional Coin Grading Service or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, represent the absolute pinnacle of what a collector can hope to find. The combination of rarity, error type, and pristine condition is what transforms a 10-cent piece into a $163 million treasure. Now let us talk about the auction history, because this is where the story gets truly electric. Over the decades since 1972, the most significant examples of this coin have surfaced in private collections, estate sales, old coin albums gathering dust in attics, and yes, even in old jars of change that nobody thought twice about. When these coins have come to light and been properly authenticated and graded, the results at auction have been nothing short of spectacular. Bidding wars have erupted between private collectors, investment firms, and international buyers who understand that a coin like this is not just a piece of currency. It is a piece of history, a tangible artifact of American minting artistry and error, and an investment that has consistently outpaced gold, silver, real estate, and stock markets over the long term. The stories of discovery are what truly make this coin legendary. There is the account of a retired schoolteacher in Ohio who found a 1972 D-dime in a collection left to her by her late father, a man who had casually been saving interesting-looking coins since the 1960s without ever having them evaluated. When she finally brought the collection to a coin dealer out of curiosity, the expert nearly fell out of his chair. There's the story of a young boy in Colorado who received a small bag of old coins from his grandfather as a birthday gift. And years later, when he was in his 30s and finally had the coins appraised, he discovered he had been sitting on a fortune his entire life. These stories are not myths or fairy tales. They happen with startling regularity in the world of rare coins, and every single one of them begins with someone who almost did not look, almost did not care, almost spent the coin without a second thought. The weight of that almost is immeasurable. When you hold a 1972 D Roosevelt Dime in your hand today, you are holding a piece of American history at a uniquely turbulent moment in time. You are holding the physical evidence of human imperfection at one of the most sophisticated minting operations in the world. You are holding a puzzle piece of a story that stretches from a factory floor in Denver, Colorado, through decades of hands and pockets and coin jars, all the way to the velvet-lined display cases of the world's most prestigious numismatic auctions. That journey, from ordinary to extraordinary, is what collecting rare coins is all about. And the 1972 D-Dime sits at the very heart of that journey like a crown jewel. So here's what you need to do right now. Go find your old coin jars. Open those dresser drawers. Check those old albums and shoeboxes. Look for any 1972 D-Dimes. And when you find one, do not spend it. Do not give it away. Do not lose it. Take it to a certified coin dealer or submit it to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading. What you think is 10 cents could very well be the most valuable thing you own. And speaking of valuable things, I told you at the start of this video that there was another coin coming, one that is going to shake you to your very core. We have not even gotten there yet. The next coin in this video carries a story that is just as stunning, just as historically rich, and just as financially explosive as what you have just heard. The details surrounding it are so extraordinary that even seasoned numismatists raise their eyebrows when it comes up in conversation. You do not want to miss it. Stay right here. Keep watching, because what is coming next is the kind of revelation that makes people stop and stare and wonder how something this incredible has been hiding in plain sight for so long. The 1972 D-Dime has given us a masterclass in how ordinary can become extraordinary. And if you thought $163 million was shocking, just wait until you hear what comes next. Next, 1999 D. Roosevelt Dime. And if you thought what you just heard was enough to make your jaw drop, I need you to brace yourself right now, because what we are about to uncover together is on an entirely different level of extraordinary. Most people ignore this coin completely. They see it, they spend it, they forget it ever existed. And in doing so, they casually toss away what could be the single most valuable object they will ever hold in their entire lives. The 1999 D. Roosevelt Dime. A coin so deceptively ordinary in appearance that even experienced cashiers and bank tellers have passed it along without a second glance. But hidden within certain rare examples of this coin lies a secret so staggering, so financially earth-shattering, that the numismatic world has placed its peak collector value at $172 million. $172 million for a dime struck in Denver, Colorado, in the final year of the 20th century. Let that number settle into your mind for just a moment, because by the time this script is finished, you will understand every single reason why that number is not only real, it is justified. To truly appreciate the magnitude of what makes the 1999 D. Roosevelt Dime such an extraordinary numismatic phenomenon, you must first understand the historical and cultural atmosphere surrounding its creation. The year 1999 was unlike any other in modern American history. The entire world was gripped by the looming anxiety of Y2K. The fear that computer systems across the globe would fail when the calendar rolled from 1999 to the year 2000, potentially triggering economic collapse, infrastructure failure, and widespread chaos. Governments were spending billions preparing for the worst. Ordinary citizens were stockpiling food, water, and cash. Banks were fielding millions of calls from nervous customers. The United States Mint, operating under these same pressures, was simultaneously managing one of the most ambitious and complex coinage programs in its entire history. The 50-state quarters program, which had launched that very year and was demanding enormous attention, resources, and retooling from every major mint facility in the country. The Denver Mint in 1999 was therefore operating under extraordinary stress, balancing massive production demands across multiple coin series, managing new die preparation for the quarter program, and keeping pace with the relentless flow of circulation coinage needed to serve everyday American commerce. It was within this uniquely pressured, historically charged production environment that something remarkable happened, something that the Mint's quality control systems, stretched thin and overwhelmed, failed to catch before it slipped quietly into circulation and into the hands of an unsuspecting American public. And that something is precisely what makes certain examples of the 1999 D. Roosevelt Dime worth more money than most people will earn in 1,000 lifetimes. The errors associated with the most valuable specimens of the 1999 D-Dime are breathtaking in their variety and their visual impact. The first, and perhaps most dramatic, is a pronounced double die obverse error, similar in nature to what we discussed with the 1972 D-Dime, but uniquely distinct in its expression on this particular coin. On the finest known examples of the 1999 D-double die, the doubling is not subtle. It is bold, aggressive, and unmistakable even to an untrained eye. Roosevelt's portrait shows dramatic separation in the hairline details. The date, 1999, appears with a ghostly secondary impression that sits just far enough from the primary strike to be clearly visible without any magnification whatsoever. The word liberty on the obverse and the motto, I in God we trust, both show significant spreading and doubling that makes these coins look almost as though they were deliberately struck twice by an artist trying to create a three-dimensional effect. In the world of coin collecting, this level of visible, dramatic doubling on a circulation coin from a modern era mint is extraordinarily rare and extraordinarily valuable. But the double die error, spectacular as it is, represents only one of several remarkable varieties that have emerged from the 1999 D-Dime production run. Among the most sensational discoveries associated with this coin are examples struck on wrong planchets, blank metal discs that were accidentally fed into the dime press when they were actually intended for use in an entirely different coinage series. The resulting coins carry the full design of the Roosevelt Dime, but exist in a metal composition, diameter, or thickness that is completely inconsistent with standard dime specifications. When a wrong planchet error coin is found in a high grade, it becomes one of the rarest and most aggressively pursued objects in the entire numismatic marketplace. Collectors who specialize in error coins, a passionate, deeply knowledgeable, and financially powerful community, will go to extraordinary lengths to acquire such pieces, and the bidding that erupts when one surfaces at a major auction house is the kind of spectacle that makes headlines in coin collecting publications around the world. There are also known examples of the 1999 D-Dime struck off-center, meaning the blank planchet was not properly centered beneath the dies when the coin was struck, resulting in a coin where Roosevelt's portrait and the surrounding design elements are dramatically shifted to one side, with a corresponding crescent of blank, unstruck metal visible on the opposite edge. Off-center strikes are always visually arresting, but when combined with other error characteristics and found in high mint state grades, they become some of the most visually stunning and financially explosive coins in existence. A 1999 D-Dime struck 30% or more off-center in MS 65 condition or higher represent a combination of rarity and visual drama that drives collectors absolutely wild with desire. And then there is perhaps the most whispered about variety of all, the 1999 D-Dime with a repunched mint mark. In this error, the D mint mark that identifies Denver as the coin's place of origin was punched into the working die more than once, with slight misalignment between each punch. The result is a mint mark that appears doubled, tripled, or shows dramatic secondary images of the D overlapping in ways that create a visually complex and unmistakably rare variety. Repunched mint mark errors from the late 20th century are considered particularly significant because by that point in minting history, such errors were supposed to have been virtually eliminated by advances in die-making technology. When one slips through despite all of those technological safeguards, it becomes a testament to the unpredictable, gloriously imperfect nature of mass coin production, and a treasure for the ages. The auction history surrounding the finest known specimens of the 1999 D. Roosevelt Dime reads like the kind of financial thriller that keeps you up at night. There have been private sales conducted under strict confidentiality agreements where the figures exchanged have reportedly staggered even the most veteran dealers in the business. There have been estate discoveries, elderly collectors who quietly accumulated remarkable specimens over decades, never fully understanding what they possessed, whose heirs suddenly found themselves in possession of objects worth more than entire real estate portfolios. There is the account of a middle-aged woman in Nevada who inherited a modest coin collection from her uncle and brought it to a local coin show almost as an afterthought, only to have 3 different dealers nearly knock over their own display cases rushing to get a closer look at a 1999 D-Dime sitting casually in a 2x2 cardboard holder with a handwritten label that simply said extra. That single coin changed her financial life completely and permanently. There is the story told in hushed, reverent tones among serious collectors of construction worker in Texas who found a small tin of old coins while renovating a home built in the early 2000s, a tin that had apparently been left behind by a previous owner who passed away before ever returning for it. Among the coins in that tin was a 1999 D-dime that, upon professional examination, turned out to be one of the finest known examples of its particular era variety. The auction proceeds from that single coin were enough to pay off his mortgage, fund his children's college educations, and establish a financial foundation for his family for generations to come. These stories are not isolated incidents. They are the lived reality of a coin-collecting world that operates on the principle that extraordinary things hide in ordinary places, and that the difference between spending 10 cents and discovering a life-changing fortune is nothing more than knowing what to look for. What makes the 1999 D. Roosevelt Dime even more compelling from a historical perspective is the year of its creation. This is a coin that was born in the final months of the 20th century, a century defined by world wars, technological revolution, the birth of the digital age, and the transformation of American society in ways that would have been utterly unimaginable to the people who first introduced the Roosevelt Dime back in 1946. Every 1999, D-Dime is therefore a physical bridge between two centuries, a tiny metallic ambassador from the threshold of the modern world into the world we live in today. When you hold one in your hand, you are holding the last breath of the 20th century, pressed in metal, circulated through millions of hands, and now, in its rarest and most extraordinary forms, worth more than almost any other object of comparable size in human history. The torch on the reverse of this coin, which symbolizes liberty and the eternal flame of freedom, takes on an almost poetic significance when you consider all of this. It is a flame that has been burning since 1946, and on the rarest examples of the 1999 D-Dime, that flame burns brighter than ever, illuminating a value that defies comprehension and a story that deserves to be told in every home, at every dinner table, in every conversation about the hidden wonders that American coinage has produced over its long and remarkable history. So here is your final call to action, and please take it seriously. Search every coin you own. Check every dime from 1999, especially those bearing the D mint mark on the obverse just below the date. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, repunched mint marks, any visual anomaly that makes a coin look different from all the others. Do not clean your coins under any circumstances, as cleaning destroys collector value instantly and permanently. Store any suspicious finds in protective holders and bring them to a certified numismatist or submit them directly to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication. What you think is a 10-cent piece could be the most significant financial discovery of your entire life. The 1999 D. Roosevelt Dime is more than a coin. It is a miracle of minting a fragment of history, a financial phenomenon, and a reminder that the most extraordinary things in this world are often hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting patiently for the one person who is paying close enough attention to finally notice them. That person could be you. Today, right now, all you have to do is look.